What's up, everyone? It is Diecastbuffet here again with one of the most interesting Matt Kenseth diecasts I have ever seen in the studio. We'll be talking all about it, a little bit of a history lesson. This is a year 2000 Matt Kenseth promo commemorative first win diecast that was released, get this, in 2004 or late 2003. Wild stuff. Let's go ahead and check it out. Alright folks, here we go with today's diecast review. And you might be thinking, okay, this is a Matt Kenseth car, early 2000s. What is so special about this paint scheme? So I did a little bit of research about this car. Also, huge shout out to Cameron for giving me this car. He sent it in a diecast haul, so I really appreciate it. I've been excited to do a diecast review on it, and I feel like now is the time. So it's going to be a little bit of a, I guess you could say, a history lesson potentially about this car. So I did some research and I looked around, and this is based off his year 2000 paint scheme. What makes it interesting is the original release of the Matt Kenseth year 2000 car. A lot of them were racing champions, different diecast mold, different diecast company. Well, there was a few Hot Wheels ones that actually got produced. What makes it so special is that this car apparently was manufactured in late 2003 or early to mid 2004 because it came in a promo packaging. So this car is different than the original 2000 Matt Kenseth, and from the photos I've seen, this one looks more accurate in my opinion. The door number, the contingencies, a lot of this was really like, there was a lot of real estate, not being used, so to speak, on the original one. It's not a verbatim exact replica of the Charlotte paint scheme. There's like a logo here on the hood, the front of the car. It's closer to the real thing, but it's not like, hey, it's a 2025 remake of a race to win where everything to the pixel is accurate. So another thing about this car is that it was released in 2004, okay? Well, it was a part of a 4-car set partnership, or I say set, but it was 4 different drivers that had their first career wins during the early 2000s. Kenseth, Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, God bless, and Ryan Newman. What was fascinating is that Ryan Newman was driving a Dodge in 2004. Greg Biffle, I want to say he wasn't even sponsored by Granger in 2004 because he had the National Guard car. But they still made the diecast in 2004. They all came together and said, you know what? Okay, we don't care that Penske's running Dodges now. We're still going to make a Ford diecast based on Newman's 2002 win. And of course, Kurt Busch, the Sharpie Million paint scheme that he ran at the spring Bristol race in 02. So anyways, it was kind of like, hey, we didn't make these cars, we're going to remake them for 2004, which makes it extremely cool for this reason alone. It's the same diecast mold that they used for the original 2002, 2001, 2003 cars, and I'll show one real quick. This is a 2003 Kurt Busch, and you can see what I'm talking about. The interiors are the same. The diecast castings, I'm pretty darn sure, are the same. You could tell traditionally from the hood lines, you could see how the Kurt Busch one is probably a little bit, maybe have a little bit of a thicker clear coat potentially, but you could see the hood lines are pretty similar. The main difference is obviously the wheels. You could look at the bottom portions of it. They use the same plastic chassis, which they used from, what was it, year 2001 to halfway 2004. They would transition to a metallic silver colored interior in 2004 at some point, or early 2005, and they did change the diecast mold by then. So the diecast mold is a little bit leaner on the silver interior colored ones. But the point is, you can see the wheels here. This is the traditional Hot Wheels release. This came in a normal card back packaging, but the wheels on this one is pretty much what you would see traditionally in a lot of Happy Meal toys, believe it or not, back in the 2000s. So it's fascinating how they used the same casting, the same chassis, but they used the smaller, these wheels are very small. Like the axle rods are very small. It's just fascinating. So why do I find this car so fascinating? Why do I think it is just really interesting to me? If you wanted the most accurate version of the year 2000 Matt Kenseth diecast, maybe you're a Kenseth fan, maybe you're a Roush Couture. I've been a Roush Couture my whole life, right? Always a fan of the Roush drivers. You could modify this car very easily. You could literally just buy, an extra overproduced 2001 to 2004 Hot Wheels car. Swap out the chassis. Congratulations. Now this car is going to look verbatim the same as any other Matt Kenseth diecast. And it has the updated, livery. The paint scheme is a whole lot more accurate. From what I've seen on the original 2000 Matt Kenseth Hot Wheels cars, the number was a little bit smaller. The contingency panel wasn't as fleshed out. This one definitely looks a lot better. So if you like a little bit of a project, this one could be fascinating. Now, I looked around and I couldn't find an image of the original packaging this came in, but basically it was like a little Duracell flat card back, right? And it had like 1 or 2 batteries or something on one side. Then it had the car and it said like commemorative first win, something like that. I looked around. I couldn't find an image for any of the 4 drivers with the original promo packaging, but it's out there. It's just, for whatever reason, I couldn't find it because I've seen the packaging online before. I don't know how these were distributed, but to add one more layer to it, not to be long-winded again, this is more or less a history lesson, if you will, and then we'll get to the real diecast review. They also made haulers for this as well. I have no idea how any of these were distributed. I don't know if there was a tent at a racetrack that was sponsored by Duracell and they handed these things out. I have no idea. Again, I wasn't around for that, right? I didn't go to the racetracks in 2004 and stuff. But there is a Hot Wheels hauler that says Duracell on the top, and it has Matt Kenseth on the side holding up the championship trophy, which further proves this partnership did happen in 2004 because they had the Winston Cup Championship. And I don't know if it had Winston on there or not, but it was in the Hot Wheels traditional retail box. I saw one, I think, for Ryan Newman. So if there's one for Newman and Kenseth, I imagine there's one for Biffle's Daytona win in 03 and then Kurt Busch's Bristol win. So one of the most fascinating promo diecasts to me. I know a lot of people might be thinking this is just a random cheap car. I find it fascinating, guys. So we go over to the hood of the car here. You have Dewalt right there on the hood. You do have that beautiful glossy paint job. And keep in mind, this is a promo car. This is a freaking promo car. I don't even know if this thing, cost at the promo tent. It might have been something they handed out. It might have been something you paid, I don't know, $1 at the, a convenience store, a checkout. I have no idea. But the fact that they got this level of clear coat on this car is remarkable. There is a little bit of a paint chip right there on the front. Fortunately, it's in the bottom portion of the car. Very, very easy fix. You have the early 2000s Ford Taurus headlights. Another fascinating thing is that the Ford Taurus looked a little bit different in 2004 in terms of the headlight tampos or decals or whatever you want to call them. They would change that up by the time 2004 came around. Now you have the contingency panel here. Again, there's no racewear markings or anything like that. This is essentially, in short terms, it's basically the most realistic version of the year 2000 paint scheme based on his Charlotte car. But I would say it's probably more or less an 8.7 out of 10 in terms of resembling that Charlotte paint scheme. He won the Coke 600 in 2000, if you don't know. You can see the top of that decal there is a little bit folded. You have Moog, you have NASCAR Select, Clevite, Union 76, Wix Air Filters, Mac Tools, Simpson, Edelbrock, and Plastalock. Got Taurus, number 17. You got Roush Racing there. Go over to the left side of the car here. And again, this main portion right here is what really sold me on this car. And I was looking at the photos of it. I'm like, yes, this looks so much more realistic. Like, this area right here is pretty darn accurate. There is a missing decal here. The whole back panel is missing. Again, it's a promo diecast. You're going to have some quirks to it. But if you wanted a project car, this is a fantastic one. I've had the Kurt Busch one in studio years ago, and it's pretty cool as well. And it's the only time they ever made the Sharpie $1 million paint scheme for the Hot Wheels line. They made it, I think, Team Caliber, but that's a story for a different day on Team Caliber diecast. But in terms of Hot Wheels ones, the most accurate versions you can get, this would be it. You can see the window is a little bit pushed in. That shouldn't be too much of the fix. What it is, there's a solid rivet right here at the top. There's not a rivet here, and there's not a rivet here. Kind of the not chassis, but the interior of the car holds the plastic to the body of the car. So if you took this one apart, you could probably easily fix that. Got Goodyear there. Got goodies, Goodyear belts, and something else. Got Bowman, 3M, EA Sports, Jessel, Aeroquip. Got Nomex, Mechanics Wear, Comp, Holly, True Value, Rebestos, MCIWorld.com, NASCAR Race Car. The race car decal is inaccurate because this was year 2000, so it had the year 2000 logo. They didn't put that one on here. Gatorade, Autometer, Spicer. Obviously, it's missing the Bud Pole Award, or at least the faux Pole Award decal, and obviously the Winston Cup decal. Got Hardee's, Mac Tools, Exide, Comp, Valvoline. Whatever the biff that is, and whatever the biff that is. Fun fact, Roush would be sponsored by Pennzoil in the mid-2000s, so I don't even know if they were still sponsored by Valvoline at this point. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. This is one of those weird anomalies where they go back years from now and remake a car. It would be like it would be like a driver in 2026 getting a diecast made from 2020 or 2019. Like, it would just be like, wow, that's really crazy, you know, all the sponsors that come and go. Got Matt Kenseth there. Nothing on the B post and the C post. Again, there's a quarter panel decal that's missing. The whole back panel, it is missing. But again, if you wanted a project car, there's a ton of these things out there. This would be a fantastic piece, and you could really have the most accurate Matt Kenseth car that I've ever seen from year 2000. The ones I did see, the decals on it, they looked a little bit like, I don't know, they just didn't look, they didn't look right. Like, the decals were too small, there was too much gaps. This to me is the best one that I've seen. You got a good look at the wheels here. And again, these are pretty much your standard Hot Wheels Happy Meal style wheels that you would have gotten back in the 2000s. I don't even know if they still hand out, you know, Hot Wheels cars with Happy Meals, but I know as a kid back in the 2000s they would. And that's the wheels you would get on a lot of them. Go to top of the diecast. Again, a great look at that clear coat. This car is, you know, obviously been opened. I don't know how long this diecast has been open, but considering there's a couple of chips right here on the front and the windows pushed in, that clear coat, man, this thing was sprayed on, what, 20 to 21, 22 years ago, and it's still that shiny. That is remarkable for a used diecast. Number 17 right there at the top, you have the back window. It does have a few scuffs there. And then you have guaranteed tough. That clear coat is indeed guaranteed tough. You know, a quarter of a century? I mean, that's pretty darn good. Just keeping it real. So, fantastic diecast. I wanted to, you know, really talk about the history of this car and why I think it's one of the most fascinating Matt Kenseth diecasts ever produced. Again, they made one for Biffle. They made one for Kurt Busch. They made one for Ryan Newman. I don't know if the Biffle one is different than the standard 2003 release. I'm going to assume it is. I could be mistaken on that, but considering the Matt Kenseth and the Kurt Busch one were unique, I'm assuming the Ryan Newman one is unique as well, because if you remember, he won the fall New Hampshire race. Well, guess what? They probably made that paint scheme. I think it was the, Mobile One Speed Pass, something like that car. That one probably came out well before that New Hampshire event. So my theory is that it's probably going to be catered a little bit more realistic, being a late release, etc. Since it, you know, the standard release was probably months before then. There's a lot of crap that changes before then. Anyways, thank you all for watching the video. Have a blessed one, everybody. If you'd like to support the channel, make sure to tap in over there to Circle B Diecast. Use promo code Diecastbuffet. You can save on shipping. You know, once in a while, I like to do these, you know, these old school videos. Thank you, Cameron, for sitting in this car. I greatly appreciate it. I know there's some other cars I got to review as well that you sent in. I'll get around to them. I'm trying to balance, you know, the new diecasts and a little bit of old school stuff as well. That's all for now. DB, signing off.